Anytime you work on a complicated document in Adobe Photoshop, the Layers panel has the option of being utter pandemonium, or at least complicated with a lot of stuff in it. Let's talk about controlling our stuff, our layers, with something called a group. Go ahead and open up in your exercise files, Layers and Groups, PSD. Here we go. Now that's a little self-portrait. I hope you like it. Each one of the pieces is in, however, a different layer. I've got the hair in one, I've got the eyes in one, the ears, you get it, they're all different. If I want to move them all at the same time, I could shift-click down here and select them all, I suppose. When I come over here, I could move them. No rocket science involved there. But I want to condense things in my Layers panel because I've got hundreds of layers and scrolling up and down. So I think of areas where there are groups of layers that kind of relate to the same thing, and I can make a group out of them. I've got 2 text layers, and I have these layers up here. So what I want to do is create a group for this stuff. I'm going to select here, so the group will appear above that layer. And I'm going to click this button right here. That's to create a group. If we double-click it here, we can give it a name. How about face elements? To get these items into there is actually pretty simple. Select hair, shift-click down to mouth, and then drag up until you see a little box come around face elements, and let go. Now they should indent if it worked. We can then collapse, and we're getting better control over our Layers panel. Now the advantages here are kind of nice. I can turn everything on and off as if it were one layer. I can move it as if it were one layer. And when we get to blending modes, we can control all of the elements in this particular group as if they are in one layer. Opacity would be the same thing. You've got a lot of control. Now let's say during the course of working that we decide this particular group needs to be ungrouped, if you will. There's a couple of ways we can do this, but this is the absolute easiest way. I want you to select face elements. Now don't drag it to the trash can. I want you to click the trash can icon. It's going to ask if I want to delete the group and the contents or just get rid of the group. And let's just get rid of the group. And we're kind of back to square one. Let me show you another way that's actually a little bit faster here. Select all of the items that you want in a group with a shift click. Now, come up to your options here. You have an option for creating a group or creating a group from layers. Now click that button. It will automatically take you here so you can give it a name. And click OK. And that's just one more way. Tell you what, let's make one more. But let's use that new feature in the Layers panel that we learned in the previous lesson. And that is the ability to find layers up here. I've got 2 text layers. I want those in their own group. There they are. It got rid of everything else for me. I can come down here and I can select them. I can then go to this button, which makes sense. This is faster. And go into New Group from Layers. We'll call it text or type or whatever you want to call it. Click OK. Now we can turn this off. And there you go. We've got another group. I do like groups, and I think they are a very important part to Photoshop if you're doing complicated documents, because they help control the confusion that can exist in the Layers panel. On to the next.